you say that, it makes me, do you think that maybe some of the issues that we face in life, whether it's cycles or let's say hurts, that we just
Yes.
are failing to be introspective, to like to slow down, to stop and really evaluate what's going on, with us, like the choices that we're making. Because you said that, just being very intentional and purposeful with the things that we're doing with our relationships, like asking the
Yeah.
question, why? Like, well, why
Yeah.
do I react like this? Why do I, do these certain things? I mean, do you think that that's part of maybe what we're missing?
You know why I think that's yes, and you want to know why I think that? The Bible says that God talks to us in a still small voice,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so
Mm-hmm.
being so busy, I heard this.
Yeah.
I wish I made up all these quotes. I didn't make up all these quotes. I try to learn a lot, right? So
Yeah.
another thing that I learned along the way was everybody that's doing a lot ain't always getting a lot done.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that's busy is not actually productive. And
Yeah.
so just kind of just can I throw another one in there? And I know I'm kind of taking a little piece of this and a little piece of that. I know. I know. I told you I was special minded. Bible says take no
All right, Miss.
no space to be
Mm-hmm.
to listen and receive. So I do think that God talks to us from nudging. Whatever you want to call it, I think that that's God's way of being like, hey, 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 pay attention. Watch this. And if we got so much cacophony, unnecessarily big word, so much noise, and so much commotion, so much whatever, just
Yeah.
and I'm going and going and going. And then you know what? You get all the way up there, all the angels and all the glory. I did this, I did this. Here go my whole resume. Here go my seat.
Mm-hmm.
I done done this. You wasn't quite. You ain't sit still enough to be intimate with me. We ain't get to.
Yes.
But no, 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 no. I got you. I got. But I did that. I did that. I don't want you up here with me.
Yeah.
We wasn't intimate. You wasn't calm enough to be intimate. I want to be calm enough to know whether it's a 3-year-old saying it, whether it's a billboard, whether it's a pastor, whether it's a live Instagram video, whether it's some doggone book that I didn't write, who doesn't matter. I want to be open and receptive enough
Mm-hmm.
to use the things that are around me for the purpose that they were designed for. Can I say one more thing? I know I'm talking my head off.
It's,
Can I say one more thing?
yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's also not mine. I learned something about a candy machine, vending machine. Vending machine, got the glass, got all of the goodies up in there. Put the money in, you get the stuff out. Well, that's the purpose it was designed for.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you go and you rock it, boom, boom, and you hit it, you might get something out of it. That's not the purpose it was designed for.
Mm-hmm.
That glass was
Mm-hmm.
designed to give you insight.
Mm-hmm.
You bust that glass, cut your arm, cut your hand. That glass wasn't designed to hurt you, but you didn't use what I put there to help you for the
Yeah.
purpose it was designed. So that exact same thing in that same location that was purposely put there for us
Yeah.
to get benefit, because we don't use it for the purpose it was, we get hurt
Yeah.
in life.
Yeah.
In life. So I just want to be really receptive to that. And that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I love. I mean, I'm like, can I talk about my devotional? Because you said something about just being quiet and being
Yeah.
still, and God does speak in a small, still voice. And
Yeah.
sometimes we do get so busy that we miss it. We
Right.
miss the signs, and it's not even in our quiet moments. It
Right.
can be God uses people and things to speak to us. Like it looks very different, but we're so one tracked on our. I love a to do list. I'm will be honest, but I can get so caught up in my to-do list
Yeah.
that I miss what God is
Right.
saying, what the Holy Spirit is trying to push me towards or get my attention, because it's about me and trying to and making me feel good because I cross off everything on my to-do list. And we do have to slow down, and it is in those quiet moments where in the car, right, where we can just
Uh,
turn off the radio and just be in. I feel like sometimes we just don't want to be quiet, like we don't want to
yeah.
be alone
It's
by
uncomfortable.
ourselves, you know what I'm saying?
Why?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but why? Yeah, but why? What
but
is
why?
it about us that we don't want to be with us? We
I
don't want
can't
to
be
have
with
that quiet
me.
time.
Just
Yeah,
don't leave me
so
by myself with myself.
it's so important. It's important that we do get the quiet time, that we
Yeah.
get the alone time to just kind of think, to decompress, and to just really think about, to see what God is saying. And I love what you said about purpose, the purpose of something. So, kind of digressing from your book for just a second, but
Yes, it's
people
the
talk
same
about
thing.
purpose,
It's the same thing.
right?
Yeah, it's the same
We
thing.
want to know, like, well, what's my purpose? What's our purpose? And there's nothing wrong with the books. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with, I don't even know if there's classes out there and different tests, and all of those are great. But if I created this pen, right? If I was the inventor of the pen and you want to know what the purpose of the pen is, the best thing to do is go to the person who created it. I can tell you exactly why I created the pen, what's the purpose of the pen. So
Hmm.
a lot of times we spend a lot of time seeking our purpose through a lot of different other, ways, but we never go to the one who created us, and he created us for a purpose, to
Absolutely.
do things. And so, but it requires conversation, it requires that intimacy, that relationship. It just doesn't,
Yeah.
fall out the
Yeah.
sky, and we don't get a
Yes.
letter in the mail. So yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying about purpose and slowing down. I mean, you're really touching on a lot of good stuff. So it's good.
Mm.
Good.
I'm gonna have to go get myself together after this. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You need some quiet time.
I need to write.
Get yourself together. So, another thing that I really enjoyed about your book,
Hmm.
was at the end of the chapters, you have questions. I was going to show, but you have questions that kind of help to reflect on what you talked about.
Yes.
That really synthesize the information. I love that because I'm great for reading a book and just flying through it. And then at
Yeah.
the end, I'm like, oh, well, it was really good. And someone asked me, like,
Mhm.
well, what was it about? Well, and I struggle to tell them
Yeah.
a little bit about what it was about. But in
Yeah.
doing that, going back and answering questions and really thinking about how it applies to me, I thought was
Digest some.
phenomenal. Was
Yeah.
a great touch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of times I have a buddy of mine, right? He can eat anything. And by anything, I mean I have seen him be like, oh, this stale, and finish it. Or that ain't like he ain't met a food item that he couldn't put down.
Yeah.
With that being said, I've literally heard him say that he's eaten something so fast that he didn't get to taste it or really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a lot of times reading for some of us, right, can just kind of be like that. Let me get through these pages, let me get through,
Right.
and we just go. And even if it's good, like if it's like,
Mm-hmm.
we ain't sat down to digest it. And so the questions at the back of the book are kind of designed to let my food go down. You know what I mean? And kind of let me eat this part and let me sit
Mm-hmm.
down and work that out a little bit. Let me see where that's gonna go. Where do I need to apply that? And
Yeah.
and hopefully is applicable. Hopefully it's things that really help. Is my hope.
Yeah.
Um, I think that the book is one of those things that it can be read all the way through, but it literally can be picked up at this
Any
section or
point.
that
Yeah.
section, kind of, and that
Mm-hmm.
might be where I'm at. I might need this part right here or that part right there. So that was
Yeah.
the focus for that.
So
Thank you,
what
man.
so what's next though? So what with this book? Is
Gotcha. So, one day I'm gonna say some smart stuff and I'm be like, I made this up.
I mean,
But
you
right
did use a
now,
big word a couple minutes ago. I can't even think of what it was, but yeah.
cacophony.
What was it?
No, but
Spell it. Spell it.
are you? Don't do that. Now, don't do
Okay.
that. But it means a whole bunch of noise. I don't want to make this a nerd moment, but yes, cacophony for my nerdists out there. Um, but a friend of mine said two things. One, he said, "I like your book. I'm really busy.
Hmm.
I don't have the time to always sit down and just read like that, but I do read a lot of little things all the time. Do you have a digest, a smaller version of your book that just kind of hits the bullets?" And so from that conversation, I sat down and I actually created a version of the book called Get Off the Cycle. And on the front cover, the run is crossed out and it's sprint. So it's Get Off the Cycle and sprint. And it is all of the stuff minus all of the Rodney talk too much stories and examples. Just kind of like hit this, hit that,
Okay.
hit that, hit that. So the Get Off the Cycle and sprint is a smaller book, is less pages, and it's designed to give the same effect for those that don't need my mouth running so much. That's the
Yeah.
first. Then there's another one. It's a workbook. It's not really. It's for grown folk.
Okay.
Grown.
Grown folk. That we can go with that. Yeah, yeah.
It's for people that's trying to increasingly mature in their
Okay. Okay.
understanding of themselves. But
Yeah.
so the book is 12 chapters, although I didn't call the chapters in the book
Right.
chapters.
Uh-huh.
It's 12 chapters or sections. Well, there's 12 segments in the workbook for each of the 12 chapters. So it's a whole bunch. It's 144 for those that y'all don't know. 12 times 12. Little Bible trivia, 144,000 is a big old deal in Revelation, but we're not going to go there right now. Go now.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
so the workbook has areas to work out our money, area to
Mm.
process that same information, making charts, areas to just kind of work out that same stuff, coloring and doodling, a part to kind of journal a little bit. So it's not as in depth as I heard that your journals have. I'm not really good at getting the best out of people journaling, but it's a little small section for those that may want to do a little bit with that. A
Okay.
part to kind of free draw and just kind of
Okay.
just doodle and design for those that are inclined that way. It's a Q&A extended Q&A portion. There's case studies that kind of give a different look and example of real people that I know. Some of their names have been changed, some of them have not been.
Okay.
Um, there's some more personal stuff in the workbook about me that I kind of just let it be known that it's me. For example,
Mm-hmm.
how I got my income tax check snatched by the
Mm.
government because I didn't do right with my student loans, right?
Mm.
So just all that kind of stuff. It's stuff in there about credit. Like what's our mentality as it relates to credit,
Oh
credit
yeah,
reporting?
yeah.
What's
Mm-hmm.
our mentality and our habits and our patterns? For
Yeah.
example, I didn't know this, but I kind of knew it. Swiping that card, you really don't feel that. Some folks feel it. Some folks have a running tally. I ain't built like that, right? So swiping a card is
Mm-hmm.
like, oh yeah, just swipe, oh yeah, just swipe. And that's a very different experience than pulling out dollars,
Oh
breaking that
yeah.
5 to 20, and being
Yes.
like, ooh, we're gonna wait. I don't want to break that last 5. And so once using cash sometimes versus just swiping is a simple habit that we can do to improve
Yes.
our mentality around spending. So
Yeah.
it's not just a financial workbook, but I'm just using that to say it's designed for grown folks.
Gotcha.
Um, and yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
it. Get
I
off the
like
cycle
that.
and work.
Yes, I like
That's
that. I would talk more about the money piece, but I will agree that the swiping card thing is easy. The
yeah,
first time that I went to the grocery store with cash, your girl was putting stuff back. I was like, oh wait, because you have to have you got to get the calculator right. You got to be like, I mean, you like, okay, so am I gonna get shrimp? No, no shrimp today. Okay,
not
we
until
going with
today.
chicken. Yeah, or we're gonna be meatless. Like it
Right, right,
really
right, right,
does
right.
make it makes you think about your purchases and when you because
Correct.
cash you see it flying. I will
Yeah,
I get kind of like, I'm spending too much money. But
for
when I'm
correct.
swiping, oh man, and my arm gets a good workout. So yeah, we've we've had to go to cash as much as possible, as much
Right.
as possible. But there's some I love that because that finances is definitely a cycle. I think that also how we handle money, I mean generational cycle, right? So
Yeah.
how our parents, our grandparents, our
Yes.
parents, all the way down, like we take it on whether we realize it or not. Especially if you've never
Correct.
been taught, and so then you get I may we can have a talk about finances.
That no no
So
no no no. I just went there like you started doing. See y'all listen. You can't be triggering somebody that got special needs because I go and I start visualizing the whole new thing and
I got you got a new book, a book
a
about
brand new
financial
book.
cycles. I mean, it's needed though. It really is
Yeah,
needed,
I
and I
need it.
think that it's good to talk about at a young
Yeah,
age because. So I was going to ask you with this book. I know you said the
yeah,
workbook for older people, more mature people. Um,
yes.
have you? First of all, I won't say you don't have to say how many kids you got, but you got a few.
I
You
don't.
say it in the book. I'm
I'm
joking.
childrenless.
Whatever you said in the book, you got 10, right? I'm joking.
Oh,
You got five. You got Rodney has
got five
five
kids.
kids. I don't want to give you more than what you got. But
Than
could
what I
you
can
go
bear.
through this with kids? do you think that they will like maybe as a parent going through it with your kids? I don't
So my
know.
mama, who I've
Okay.
mentioned several times in our little chat, actually sat down and read it with one of my oldest nieces
Okay.
down in Florida. And it was part of their little bonding time where they would just kind of go through and read some. I don't know if they read chapters or segments or pages or what, but they sat down and they read through it, and it would spark conversation, and they would stop reading whenever the conversation picked up.
Okay.
And if they had more time, they would go back to pages, and if not, they would just kind of keep the convo going. I found that really, really interesting to process.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good.
Okay.
I want to make a version of the book that is designed for students because I
Gotcha.
believe that some schools, like if the book, and I believe it can, I just haven't sat down, shout out to grandma, long enough
Yeah.
to kind of process it out. But I think that the same ideas on a student level can be applied to improve school climate,
Yeah.
improve management, improve study habits,
Hmm.
improve decision making as relates to friendships and how I'm
Yeah.
engaged.
Yeah.
So I think it's a way to do it. I just need to sit down and do that. But that's the next thing. So after I get this workbook out the way, that's gonna be the next thing. I don't even know what I'm gonna call it because all of them got the little fancy get off the cycle, same cover,
Yeah.
sprint and work and run. I don't know what I'm
You
gonna call the student one.
it
You
will
got
it
any
will
ideas?
come. It'll come, huh?
You got any ideas? I'm listening.
Not
I'm listening.
yet. No, no, no. But I think it'd be great because I think like for
Okay.
my own kids, I would love to kind of help them to at least be able to identify cycles and in their like early on before they get
Yeah.
into it. And so I think
Yeah.
it'd be great to do with kids. I'm all about help starting early and
Got
helping kids early on. So I don't know about you. So I have I've written one book. I don't know how many you've written, but did you ever think that you would write a book?
I never thought about doing it.
Okay.
When my mom suggested this particular, the first time the book came to me, it was other people that were talking. It was like we should collaborate on a book, so everybody did like a chapter or so and through. So that was my first time doing it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like, oh look, mom, no hands. Oh my god, that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
I did that a few times with the same group of people, and we produced a series of books called My Now, and it was
Okay.
about improving my present condition due to improved new learning thinking. That's
Okay.
um when my mom introduced the idea of the book and I had that download, I totally thought it was possible. It felt
Hmm.
like, yeah, go, yeah, go. Then I got stuck for
Okay.
years. So the first part of that story sounded real shiny. Oh man, Matrix, and I know how to fly a helicopter, and I just
Hmm.
downloaded this whole book. It's a whole part in there that I didn't get to say or that I chose not to say. And the truth of that is, yeah, it downloaded and then it hit a wall. And I was about
Okay.
80% done with that book. And I couldn't get out of it. And it was so bad that I thought I would never write this book. I thought that
Hmm.
it would never happen because I couldn't produce a finished product. You know what I mean? It was like
Yeah.
the cake was stuck. Like, you keep sticking it in and just keep being moist and wet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I
Hmm.
just had that. You can't feed that no. It looked nice and golden outside. You can't eat that. You can't take that out.
Right.
And I was the reason why the heat wasn't working. I was the reason why I didn't have it in it. I was the reason why it kept falling. It was me. I wasn't being dedicated. I wasn't being diligent. Um, I didn't have the discipline
Yeah.
to finish it. So I
Okay.
thought I would never do it. It literally just felt insurmountable. I went to Africa, South Africa. I saw some of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life. Homes more beautiful than anything I know about. Shanty towns more impoverished than anything I was exposed to in person.
Hmm.
Uh, I built relationships with people that have impacted my life for the better. Um, and that experience was such, and then historical stuff like Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu. It was so
Yeah.
much of everything
Hmm.
that it's an environment inside of me that was perfect for change. It was like a spark.
Hmm.
When I came back from there, I made a list of things I was going to do differently with intention from that point forward. and one of those things was finish the book,
Hmm.
and I finished it. But
So
it took
how
that. Got to go to
so
Africa.
how many years did it take you?
Embarrassingly,
It's not
that
embarrassing.
oh, it's embarrassing for me. It's
Okay, okay,
embarrassing, because I know better, right? I know better. It shouldn't, and I know that if it was literally like, no, because somebody had cancer and I had to, like, if I had those kind of things, then it's understandable. But it was because you couldn't get right, because you ain't, you because you just didn't. Come on, bro. And I know that truth, so
okay,
I can say what I
okay,
want to say, right?
okay,
But I know that truth.
okay.
Um,
Because
yeah,
I think that, and I'm asking, and I asked the question because I know that I have definitely met um, people that want to write a book. You know,
yeah,
they have the idea, they have the desire to do it, and they don't know how to get started, or maybe they're in the process of it. And so
yeah,
I definitely wanted to, to kind of to talk about that because
yes.
sometimes we think that, oh, I have this
It just
idea to write a book, and I'm gonna sit down, and then by the end of the week or maybe 30 days, it's gonna be done, and that's not always the case.
that's
Like
not
there's
everybody's
like
story.
right. I know someone that took them 10 years,
Yeah,
to write a book. Like it's a process. Things take time. And so I guess when I hear your story and how you went to Africa, I think that sometimes we do get to a point where there's a stop. Maybe we call it writer's block or whatever the case may
yeah.
be.
Or
And
laziness,
yeah,
or
yeah,
can't get right,
yeah.
or
In
you
your
know better.
case,
What's wrong with you?
yeah, but we hit a but maybe something happens and it gives us that inspiration or the push or the kick in the pants that we need and we start writing. But it's
Yeah,
okay. It doesn't mean that because you hit a wall or you're not making progress
it'll never
that
happen.
yeah,
So for me, I think I published the book in 2017 or 18. I don't remember,
Mhm.
but I started writing it in
Okay.
2012. So
Okay.
6 years.
Okay.
Six
I
years.
think it's okay. I mean, I know you're not okay. I think it's okay. I absolutely do because
Thank you. I'm
you
about to sign up for therapy after this.
you should, yeah.
Get
Well, because here's the thing, and this is what I guess I want people. No matter how people, a lot of people have ideas, right? A lot of people
yeah,
want to write a book, and they never do. So the
yeah,
fact that it took you, however it took you, however long, or it takes someone
right.
however long to write it. Guess what? You wrote a book. They,
Yes.
other people are still they still haven't even began to on the road to doing it. And I think that that's an accomplishment. I do.
Thank you.
And so we
Well,
still we say, yeah,
if helpful, that just means if I can do it, it can be done. If it
it can
take
be
you
done.
multiple years, because it was years of that book. So the beautiful thing about Google Documents is it keeps track of every little thing. So I
Okay.
literally went back and looked at what's called version history in Google Documents,
Yeah, yeah.
and I touched the book after 2012 every single year in January. You know what
Hmm.
that tells me? New Year resolution,
I was gonna say it.
brand
Okay.
new me. That's what that tells me.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even aware of that. So
Mm-hmm.
every year, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna, and it was like 3 edits were made in 2013. Four, 5 edits were made in 2007, 16, whatever long it took, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then eventually, that last year, that last thing, it was like all of these different edits and versions were made within this, this time
Mm-hmm.
frame.
But
But
you
most
got
of the
it.
book was done in 2012.
Yeah.
So all of that was me just going around that mountain. Me and them children of Israel, just
But you know what? This is I think about this. So let me have my moment of
yes,
transparency and right.
yes,
I think that sometimes it does take people a long time to write a book, perhaps.
mhm,
And for me, I struggled, and I struggled because I had to deal with me, with
yeah,
my blocks of you can't. There's no way you could do this. Like
yeah,
it's not going to be good because of growing up, kind of being told maybe that I wasn't, like I wasn't good at writing or I wasn't good at English or whatever the case may be. Like I think that that's a real thing. Like people have
yeah,
hangups, and so it's really hard to overcome it. Even because it's not necessarily true, but to me
yeah,
it was very true because I have been told it, I've been internalized it, I believe it, it became my truth, whether it was true or not. And so people do have like real hangups, and
yeah,
so you have to overcome it. But eventually I got past it, and I think that I had some intervention happen. I don't know what cycle I was in or if I was in a cycle, but I think that's the importance of having community, right? Like having people around you that even though you believing the truth that you're speaking, but you're not reality checking it. And that's, I
Right.
like to call reality checking. You're just speaking it, but having people who will challenge you and reality check the messages that you are speaking,
Yeah.
and to speak life and to speak truth into you and to encourage you and push you, even when
Yeah.
you don't want to be pushed. So I had people that were in my corner pushing me, and
Uh-huh.
I was pushing back. I was like, don't mess with me. But they out of love, they kept at it. They was like, no, you got this, you can do it, you can do it. And I needed that, and so I
Yeah.
think that, like whether it's writing a book, starting a business, like going back to school, like whatever it is,
Whatever it
that the
is.
importance of having people, like you talked about a rock, right? Was it a rock that you used to get off of the cycle?
In real
Having
life
those
and
rocks.
in theoretical that theoretically, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell them about the rock, J Branch. Tell them about the
Yeah.
rock.
Well, when I read that, I put, God is our rock. I'm gonna just say what
Nice.
I wrote.
Nice.
But but having that, but
Yeah.
do having things that you can lean on to help you. I just believe I love the word tribe, and I really do, and I love having. I know squad is one, but I like having a tribe
Yeah.
and just people that I can have in my corner along with this thing we call life, this journey, right?
Nice.
Because it's not easy. So I think that the fact that you wrote a book, regardless of how long it took, regardless if you were acting up or not, you wrote the book, right? And you have more to come, right?
Yeah.
Now the ball is rolling. So we
Now the
got the
ball is rolling.
workbook. You got get off the cycle and sprint, which I
Yes.
love. 'Cause I still like track, but I can't run.
Nice.
I run, but I'm not going to be on anybody's team anymore. So I think that's awesome. I think that's
Thank you
awesome.
so much.
So I know you have given me almost an hour of your time today, and I appreciate it. And
Absolutely.
so what I'm gonna share this. Of course, it'll be on Instagram Live for the next 24 hours. I'm gonna put it on YouTube, but I would love to
Yeah.
put a link to the book on Amazon for people to go and get their copy
Yes,
of
ma'am.
your book. Okay. So we will do that. We'll put the link in the description box. We'll share it, and I encourage you guys to go get the book, get off the cycle, and run. It's a really good book, and I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe it, because I don't support stuff that I don't believe in. So,
Well,
um,
thank you so much.
it's
That
very
means a
it's very
lot.
helpful because I think that people, we are in cycles. We do find ourselves in cycles at some point in life, and if it's not us, we know somebody, right? Like
Right.
your mom, calling about your sisters and their friends. So we know people, and so what a great resource I think it could be to, if it's not to help you, to help other people.
Right.
So I think it'd be great. So, any
Thank you
last
so
things
much.
you wanna share?
Yes, but I'm gonna use good temperance and just chill out. You started talking about
Oh,
rock.
I need
I
to write
started
these
thinking.
words down. What you said? No, I'm joking.
You just triggered so much. So I think writing is a good outlet for me because it allows me to take all of this chatter and kind of funnel it and organize it and put it out in such a way where I
Yeah,
don't have to talk people's head off. Because
yeah.
my poor
I
children first of it.
I think what I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna split this up and do like part one, part two, right?
Nice, nice.
Because now you just triggered something else, and now I'm gonna say this, but um, you mentioned writing, and writing
Yeah,
is very therapeutic, like journaling.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
talk about this in my talk too, because it is a form of healing. Like it helps
Yes,
us. When you
right.
journal, you really do create a coherent narrative of your
Yeah,
experience. And
right.
I love it because it's really you talking to yourself about yourself,
Correct.
without any rules, without any interruptions. And it's like a cleanse, like you just get it all out,
Yeah,
And so
it's
I love it.
unpacking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I when you said that, I thought, like there's probably people out there like I don't have anything to write or to ever put in a book. But sometimes when I go back to my journals and I read, I'm like, man, this is some interesting stuff. Like this is really good. Like you just never know like what's brewing, or and so I think writing is good all
My
around.
14-year-old does it.
Your
One of
work.
my 14-year-old son does it. And
Oh,
he just said
awesome.
he's been sitting at the dining room table for a couple of months. Every so many nights, I just see him down there, and I'm like, man, what are you?
Hmm.
I never asked him what he was doing. I thought it was homework. So one day I asked him, he was like, "Oh no, it's not homework." I'm like, "What the heck you doing?" He was like, "Well, somebody suggested that I journal, so I'm just doing that." And I'm
Mm-hmm.
really, I think that's really mature of him.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's great. I don't even know what to say about it outside of the fact that I was impressed and I didn't expect
Yeah.
it.
That's
I
awesome.
know
I
you're
think,
talking bad about me. My dad breath stink. He always fussing. I'm sure it's probably some bad stuff in there. Like,
oh
don't
my,
judge me based off of my angry teenage son, please, people.
oh my gosh. Well, at least he's doing it. You know what I'm
At
like?
least
I
he's
think
doing
that's really at 14, a 14-year-old
it.
boy. That's awesome. I think that's
Yeah,
really good.
I didn't know
I
he
have
could
one
really
son
write.
that would
Read.
write. Yeah, I have one son that would write, and another one he's not writing unless it's a school assignment and there's a grade attached. So it is what it is.
Right, 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 right.
But
So
I had to
he not
admit, but
sitting
I
at the
was
table
the
at
same way.
14, right?
Yeah, I was the same way. Didn't like to write, but now journaling, I don't do it consistently, but when I do it, I enjoy it, and I love going back and reading like years past because you also
Yeah,
see your growth. Sometimes
yeah,
we don't realize how much we've grown, right? And
right.
so